Welcome back to Hardspace Shipbreaker. It's been a little while. I played a ton of this game in early access, and I'm coming back to it now because now it's running on my Xbox Series X instead of my PC. It's on Game Pass, and so I haven't, played it in ages, so I've forgotten a lot, and also I have never played it with a console controller. So I'm not sure even what the control scheme is like. So we're gonna have to start right at the very beginning with the tutorial, which, I don't know. If you already know this game, maybe you don't need a tutorial. But I probably do, just to learn how to play with a different set of inputs. Humankind has industrialized much of the solar system. Earth has deteriorated into a place of squalor and decay. In orbit, a new breed of worker has emerged, the Shipbreaker. The labor is extremely dangerous. But for a select few, the hazard pay is worth the risk. The Shipbreaker. Oh, there's still a food shortage. Oh, notification, Lynx Corporation Recruitment Services. Update on your application status. Greetings, citizen LF whatever number. Yes, you're a shipbreaker now. Oh, we should definitely enter our name. My name is Rangatang. By the way, let me know if the game audio is a little loud. I suspect it might be. I'm gonna pull it back just a little bit. My name is Rangatang. That's not how you spell Rangatang. There we go. All right, next. Voice ID verification. Ooh, so you have to pick my voice, huh? Okay, so it's 2 male and 2 female voices, but they're just grunting at me, so I can't tell. Well, why are they just using the grunts for this? Okay, I'm gonna use that female voice. I appreciate that they let me choose my inversion before I ever get out into space, so I don't have to immediately pause and do it. Oh, I get to choose what I eat? All right. So bugs, vegetarian, plastic-free, or so if I choose chicken, I am not choosing plastic-free. In fact, if I choose bugs, I am not choosing plastic-free. I'm going chicken. Please agree to each statement. I have no criminal record. Sure. I'm not a member of a union. All right, yeah, the themes are just right up front here. I've completed my medical exam, and I don't have McCullough's lung. I have no commercial or real estate interest on the moon, the asteroid belt, or anywhere. I'll bring a positive attitude. I understand and accept the health risks, and I will vote for the chancellor. Okay, great. Terms and conditions. I'm not going to skip training. Oh my gosh, what the heck? Somebody wrote this whole thing. Seriously, I'm not reading it, but I appreciate that there's probably hilarious stuff in there. I'm not going to skip training because I need to learn how this controller works. Even though I know how the game works, I need to learn how the controller works. Hardspace, Shipbreaker. I love the soundtrack of this game.
Each day he steps into the yard to earn his wages working hard. I pray to the stars and heaven above to return my daddy to those he loves. If there comes a time when he and death meet, bless the next cutter that takes his seat.
Wow. There's so many layers to that. I love it. Yeah, Zedric points out that this opening is particularly heartbreaking. I mean, this game is mechanically interesting, but they do a great job of giving it an emotional context. It makes everything you do feel more meaningful. And that's the challenge that a game often has, is taking something that's mechanically fun but making it feel emotionally resonant enough that you want to keep doing it, you know? It's not just, it's more than just, oh, I've solved the puzzle of how this game works. It's like, well, I want to be this person. I want to watch this person succeed.
Hello, Cutter 9346-52. Your automated Lynx onboarding experience will now begin. Please observe this important message.
Space. Boundless promise. Limitless resources. A brighter future. It's here where hard workers like you, the backbone of civilization, will help us pave the way to the galaxy. I'm Calicia Rai Paulson, president of Lynx Corporation's Salvage Division. When my great-great-grandfather Exeter founded Lynx, he foresaw a remarkable opportunity among the stars. His vision eventually brought us the Railgates. Now spanning all the way to Jupiter, these are the veins connecting all of modern civilization. And the people flowing through them are its lifeblood. The Railgates reinvigorated humanity and are key to our continued progress. You've been selected from among thousands of candidates to join the Lynx family. This is more than just a job. It's an opportunity to be part of the largest, most successful, and most pioneering company in human history. Your dream may be to forge your own destiny one day. Well, work hard, heed your superiors, believe in the Lynx vision. Do this, and you too will get your chance. Your first step is to join our EverWork program, the greatest gift we give our employees, turning death into an ongoing opportunity for learning and growth. With Lynx, death is a fresh start. Good luck.
So yeah, Zedric is pointing out how how this game really emphasizes that life is cheap, but it does it in this really poignant way, where, you know, there's something about making you feel two emotions at once that conflict with each other, that can make something feel more powerful and more intense. And the fact that, you know, they've got this weird corporate enforced positivity going on in all of their communications, but you figure out that what they're doing is killing you so that they can resurrect you in bodies that they own. So that, and I think this, you sort of, it comes up, you sort of figure this out as you go. But yeah, basically what they're doing is they're bringing people in, immediately killing them, giving them a body, and now they're in debt to the company forever because the company owns everything that this person even is. And it's so messed up, and they're even like, you know, you heard that like indoctrination that was going on with that child's poem, that child's prayer, where it's like, you know, if like just accept, like making a child accept that their parents will die for the corporation, and that the replacement is just as good. It's just such a crazy, like, you know, turning this like it's got this corporate positivity, but this underlying sense of horror, but these people who are trying. That child is trying really hard to feel the positivity. And it is people's efforts to feel the positivity in the face of the horror that gives you that like emotional resonance that makes it sort of connect with you and like make you like, oh my gosh, I have to save these people. So yeah, I'm gonna push a button that says, yes, I want a fresh start, and this is my death.
Video observation complete. To finalize onboarding, your genetic sequence will now be extracted for use with the Lynx EverWork Asset Replacement Program. Don't worry, pain levels during extraction are largely tolerable. Please note, as outlined in Section 31 of your employment agreement, the process of genetic extraction will destroy your original body. Beginning extraction now.
This reminds me of The Upload, I think is the name of the TV series. where people's...
Extraction, analysis, and backup complete. Thank you. Beginning spare generation.
where they scan people's brains, but scanning their brain literally destroys their head to put them into a virtual world. It's just so horrific. Congratulations, it is now safe to die. So there is a version of this, and I haven't actually tried it. There's a version of this where you get only one life, and I wonder if that version skips this process. So yeah, they charge you ridiculous amounts of money for everything. And now you end up you're just so in debt to the company. Think of that number just go up. I think you're around $1 billion in debt. Come on! All right. That's the money I owe. Is Lynx a pun? No.
All right. Breathe. You're okay. Everything's gonna be just fine. There you go. Plenty of folks feel a bit woozy with the first spare. Anyway, welcome aboard. The name's Weaver. I'm the foreman for yourself and a couple of other shipbreakers in this region. This here's Morrigan Station. She may not look like much right now, but once we boot her up, she'll purr like a kitten. Alright, let's test out your orientation control. Do me a favor and look up at that cargo elevator up above.
All the way up there?
So that's where all the salvage gets collected to be picked up by the transfer crew. Just in case you ever turn yourself out of whack, use your roll thrusters to reorient.
Okay, so... Oh! You click the right and left sticks. Okay, I was wondering what that was going to be.
Now let's get you flying. Activate your thruster controls now. Try moving around.
Okay. So my thrusters, left, right.
Now vertical control.
And then A to go up, and B to go down. All right.
Looks good. Now, to finalize these movement checks, I need you to fly to these waypoints.
Okay, and then, L and R together are brake. Okay, so I use L to roll left, and R to roll right. But hitting them together
myself, you know,
stops me.
till there was some complications with my last revive. Those are early days in the tech, though, so never you mind about that. Oh, almost forgot the most important thing. Brakes. Get yourself going at a decent clip, and then test them out, why don't you?
All right, there we go. All right, this feels pretty natural, actually. They did a good job.
All right. Looks like the bay here was left in a bit of a mess. We're gonna clean this crap up. I'm gonna activate the furnaces. Now. Dang. Would you just...
Ah!
There you go. So these furnaces are used to melt down soft metals. Should go without saying. These things are hot as all get out. So, try not to drift into them by accident. Okay, let's get a handle on your grapple tool. This fella here is a shipbreaker's bread and butter. This is how we move salvage around. Activate the beam and hold it to grab an object and move it around, if it's not too heavy. Give it a go, and move one of these pieces into either furnace. So, when you're holding an object with the grapple, you can retract the beam. This will pull a light object to you. If it's heavier than you, it'll pull you towards it.
How do I retract? Oh, it's LT. Okay, so I'm going to grab something and then retract it towards me. Oh, my face! And then do a bad job of sending it somewhere. So I definitely had an easier time with mouse and keyboard. Okay, yeah, so that thing's big. I can't pull it in the same way. All right, how about I try to actually succeed at something? I'm just really used to using a mouse for this, and it was much easier.
Nice job cleaning up that soft metal scrap cutter. Huh. Let's move on to the bigger nanocarbon chunks now, shall we? You may have already noticed that these are too heavy to move with your grapple. I'm enabling your scanner so we can check out their structural makeup. Go ahead and boot it up.
So yeah, it was easier to sort of move my cursor and have it settle somewhere quickly. There's like, you do feel like you're moving around in a big, heavy suit, and it doesn't react as quickly to you as you kind of would want it to. And so it's difficult for me to sort of get things oriented and confidently just push them into the furnace. I think I'll have to get used to it. So, toggle my scanner.
Your scanner lets you assess an object's structure. What I want you to focus on right now are these cut points. All right. Controls give me the go-ahead to get you cutting. You got quick access to all your tools through your HUD. Just open up your tool selector and choose the cutting tool.
Okay, so Y, cutter.
The cutting tool has two modes. The first one is the stinger. It's designed for precision vaporization of cut points like this. You ready to perform some zero-G surgery, Cutter?
Absolutely.
Well, let's split this scrap so it's light enough to move.
Oh, gotta get closer. There we are.
That's how you do it. Okay, let me boot up the processor so you can salvage these. Do me a favor. Look on over at one of them there. Yeah, so I can see if they activate right. Yeah, perfect. Wish me luck here, Cutter. Me and technology ain't always the best of friends. Hey, all right. We're in business. Now swap over to your grapple and toss one of those pieces you separated right in there.
So you'll notice the effort that they put into making sure I was looking in the right direction, because it is so easy in this game for you to just be looking. I mean, you could look in any direction, right? Like this is a highly, highly three-dimensional game. And so when they're working on the tutorial, they really want you to see what they're talking about when they're doing when they're turning on the processor. And so they make you look at it first before they turn it on, so you can actually tell what changed. All right, so we'll fire it up. Come on, go to the left, go to the left. Man, I'm looking forward to upgrading my tools so this stuff goes faster. All right, get in there, come on. Get in.
Well, okay. We're almost done getting this bay in shape. Let's go after that large aluminum chunk over there. Now, this beast is way too heavy to move as is. It's also too dense for your stinger to break it down. And there are no structural cut points for us to take advantage of. We're gonna have to switch over to the split saw mode of your cutting tool, start slicing this thing down to size. Go ahead and switch cut modes now.
How do I do that? Swap tool mode.
Now try changing the angle of the cut. We're in business. I've unlocked the trigger on your cutting tool. It'll split that big chunk clean in two. Go ahead and give her a whirl. I'm going to turn on your salvage indicator so you can track how much work there is left to do. This thing will track how much you've salvaged and how much you've lost. For now, let's try and hit that first goal marker. And that's what it's all about, Cutter. The more salvage goals you complete, the closer you'll get to hitting your certifications and ranking up.
I love how they make these people's lives work like a video game, because number one, this is a video game, but also it's horrific for their lives to work like a video game. And so it's like, so it's simultaneously, it's very like an efficient way for this to work. It's like at a utilitarian level, they need this video game to work like a video game, but also thematically, having these people have like little artificial achievements and certifications to hit and stuff like that makes their lives seem more difficult and meaningless. So Bardic Angel and Zedric von Kotmal are talking about whether or not this game would make you seasick. Bardic is kind of surprised I'm not getting seasick.
Let's head on over to your hab and I'll show you the ropes there. Fly on over back to the Master Jack. I'll put a marker on it so you can find it easy. When you get there, head on in and we'll get started.
So I know that like Jedi Psychitrix, for instance, is one of my frequent audience members who does get seasick very easily, and she actually can't play this game and can't really watch me play this game. I think sometimes she listens to it, but it can be pretty distressing. And so yeah, so this is not the kind of game that can easily be played by anybody who gets motion sick, because it really does try to simulate being out in zero-G space. Nanobot wants to know if there's auto orientation available. I feel like that sounds familiar. I can look at the options and see. Yay, basic certification.
License level increased.
All right. Hey there, Rosenberg. Thanks for joining us. Bardic Angel says, I'm retired Navy and I can't play these games. So, like, being on a ship is fine, an actual ship, but simulating zero-G is a little much. Makes total
Hello,
sense.
Shipbreaker. You have 1 incoming transmission waiting.
Huh. You know, I haven't really played with this part of the game before. I think they added this fairly recently in early access.
Welcome to your new home, Cutter. There's everything you need. This is officially called a ready-made long-term employee habitation something or other. Around here, we just call it your hab. Now, how's about you get yourself some rest? We'll pick up your training in the morning. So sleep tight there, Cutter.
Oh, I get to choose what my posters are? Oh, I don't. I don't get to choose. I mean, I do, but it interrupted me. I love the little
Good morning,
screensaver.
Shipbreaker. Lynx mandates a maximum of 8 hours of sleep. Any extra sleep time will be docked from the next pay cycle.
Okay, we got a bunch of messages, but I'm going to skip through all of that.
Rise and shine, Cutter. Hope you feel well rested. Ready to continue your training? Okay, let's have a look at your employee terminal. Now, let's get caught up on career progression and certification. I've sent you a message with an explanation. Go on and give it a read.
All right. We've got a bunch of messages here. Certification?
Clear as mud? Don't worry, I'm here to walk you through the process. Soon enough, I'm going to introduce you to some of the other shipbreakers. Most of them are willing to help you out, too. All right, let's start a new shift and pick your first ship to work on.
All right, where do I do that? Is the ship catalog in here somewhere? I guess I'm just gonna read all of these so it's not telling me that I've got messages waiting. Oh, ship catalog. Okay, wait a minute. So I've got a message that says I've got access to the mackerel station hopper. Okay. But where do I actually get access to the ship catalog? Maybe it's X to start my shift? Or was that wrong?
This screen
Oh, here we
shows
go.
which ships you have access to. Each morning, you can choose to continue working on the ship you got or start a fresh one. Go ahead and claim one, and we'll get to work.
Oh, interesting. So I get to choose whatever I want. Originally, I think they had a special tutorial ship that you would take apart, but it looks like they've actually given me some choice up front. That's kind of cool, actually. So, station hopper, light cargo. I guess I want to do one that gives me the most money, right? So, maybe this McGuire station hopper. So Tendolente points out that another game like this that has the same sort of motion sickness problem is Outer Wilds, which I can absolutely imagine. Like that game similarly is really trying to simulate being in 3D space, like actual space with no up and down.
She's all yours, Cutter. Your primary goal is to reach rank 3. Now try to remember, nanocarbon goes in the processor, aluminum goes in the furnace. Try to salvage the entire ship if you can. We call it using the whole buffalo. You'll hit your certs faster that way and start knocking out that debt of yours. I'll be observing and giving you any help if you need it. Good luck, Cutter. Weaver out.
Okay, so this does actually look like a tutorial ship. I think they might have overridden the ship that I chose with a simplified tutorial ship. So what I'm looking for first is the airlock. It looks like because this is easy mode, they're not making me deal with the airlock. I appreciate that. So, without the complexities of dealing with an airlock, which if you haven't seen this game before, oh, airlocks are garbage. I mean, you need them, you know, if you're actually using a ship, but, okay, let's hold still here. Airlocks are important, but dealing with them, trying to set them up so they will actually, because they're designed basically to not let a ship decompress, because you need to decompress the ship, they are just a massive obstacle. Okay, so yeah, so I've detached enough of these little clips here that the panels are starting to come off. This is actually one of the fun parts of this game is just seeing how these ships are put together. Because from the outside, it just looks like, oh, it's just one solid piece. But then you can see on the inside that, no, it's got these very specific points that are holding things together. And as you destroy these points, by the way, eventually you get to the point where there are like hazards where if you misaim your laser, you can absolutely get yourself killed, cause an explosion or something. This is a tutorial ship, and so they're not going to have any of that nonsense. But yeah, so it's interesting. When I turn, there's like some continued drift. Like look what I'm doing. Like I'm going to move my stick, and then I let go, and there's some continued drift. And I don't remember it being that way with a mouse and keyboard. Or maybe it was just really easy to automatically and thoughtlessly counteract the drift. Can I pick this up? No? All right. So what is the... Okay, I guess, can I open this door? Can I just yank this door off, maybe? Yes. Okay, good. I do like that feeling of just like slow resistance.
I know these ships look intimidating to scrap at first. But trust me, soon enough, you'll be stripping the huge Gecko-class freighters like nothing. Got my star, salvaging back down Earthside. And avoid scrapping this. You know what made me come up here? One day, we got a batch of this particular model in. One of them kinds with synthetic skin and everything. We almost never saw people looking ones like that. They're always too expensive to manufacture. Seems someone found a warehouse full of them. Mothballed for, 20 years or so. Since the AI ban took effect. Probably bought the whole lot for pennies, thinking they could turn a tidy profit with the salvage. No word of a lie. These things looked exactly like my stepbrother Jed. He even had the same slack-jawed expression. Now, Jed and I wasn't exactly pals or nothing, but all the same, I couldn't bring myself to start smashing that dopey face. And that's when I looked into getting on with Lynx. I tell you what, it's a sight better to cut up something that doesn't look like a family relation. Anyway, I'm running on. I'll clear the channel. Holler if there's anything giving you grief up there, Cutter. We were out.
I appreciate that they're not making me deal with oxygen yet, though I'm really curious what it's going to be like once they introduce that. Like, how are they going to justify the fact that up until this point I haven't had to breathe? It'll probably be something about how before I didn't have to pay for my oxygen or something. They're introducing something, you know, kind of punitive to keep me from slacking or something like that. Which is like one of the most annoying and offensive things about large organizations like this that treat people like cattle, is that they'll often have this assumption that everyone is going to be slacking all the time unless they adopt some kind of punitive measure. What I'm doing right now, by the way, is using my own thrusters to push these panels clear. So I can tell that I've actually successfully cut them loose. Because a lot of the time, oh, look, see, I missed a spot up here. It's really easy to miss cut points. And so sometimes, like, you'll cut a bunch of stuff and then you gotta, like, lean your shoulder into the ship to try to see if you've actually successfully detached a bit. So let's see if we can get into the other side. Yeah, okay, so we got some more cut points on the inside over here. Some of them I think associated with the airlock. So this looks pretty simplistic, but that's because this is an early level. Normally what we'd be dealing with is different compartments with different, you know, with some with atmosphere, some without, having to be manually decompressed. We'd be dealing with like volatile things like fuel tanks. We'd be dealing with trying to extract like a star drive. Not a star drive, because this is, I think this only takes place in the solar system. Trying to extract some kind of, the reactor, that's what it is. Extracting a reactor without it going, you know, meltdown. And a lot of these things have like time pressure. That's actually one thing that worries me about the fact that I feel like I'm feeling so much difficult to control drift on my cursor. It's the fact that that's going to slow me down a lot, trying to like aim each shot and make sure it's not, you know, pointed in the wrong direction before I fire. Takes more time, which means it's going to be more difficult for me to manage things like reactors. So I'm not sure how difficult the game is going to get at that point. So the tank says, it would be nice if we could occasionally change the radio station without inducing helmet trauma. So yeah, I do actually, I really like the music, but you're right that sometimes when I'm playing this game, like I want to be, because it's such a, you know, kind of an automatic physical process that you get into after a while, I often want to play this while I'm watching something else. By the way, you'll notice that each time I aim at something, it tells me where it needs to go. You'll see just right printed on the screen. It'll say processor. One thing I'm definitely wishing I had some of is the tethers. Tethers are usually how you'll take large chunks of the ship and send them into the processor, and
Credits transferred.
it's actually much easier to use tethers, because basically what you do is you use a tether to lash something to its destination, and the tether is elastic, and so the tether will just contract and take it there for you. So, you know, sending each of these in the right direction isn't nearly the headache that it is right now. But I guess, you know, it's good to sort of teach you the basics first, and then let you learn about tethers later on. One thing, I don't think they've even turned on the grid down below. Yeah, so I'm not even really allowed to collect things that are more valuable than just the ship's hulls. So one thing that they're not, like, they are sort of simulating the 3D navigation of space, but they're not simulating inertia. You'll notice that things slow down. And that is for a reason, because if things just continually moved in whatever direction you sent them in, it would be really easy to make permanent mistakes. You know, it's like, oh, whoops, I aimed at a little wrong, and now it's literally never coming back. It's going to end up orbiting the sun forever. And there's nothing I can do about it. So what I'm imagining is that they've invented some kind of like inertia dampening field or something.
Credits deposited.
If I could just shove these things, it takes so long to just slowly shove these things through the weird molasses of the ether that they're in. Like they're kind of drifting. I think they're gonna make it. I think there's a little bit of attraction on the processor. So once they get close enough to the processor will get them the rest of the way in. Awesome Twitch dude, I don't know if I'm going to stream The Last of Us Part 1, just because, I mean, I have played it before.
Transferring credits.
And it's such a story-driven game. I'm not sure if it really fits with my usual fare, but, you know, people are certainly free to spend their channel points to get me to play it. Awesome Twitch dude, I do agree that The Last of Us is one of the best games ever made. And you don't even have to qualify it by saying that it's after State of Decay 2. I mean, State of Decay 2 is a very different game from The Last of Us. It's not trying to do what The Last of Us does. So I'm not intimidated by The Last of Us just because, I mean, we're just trying to make different things.
Valuable objects.
But at the same time, it's okay for people to say that some games just take a level of craft that is difficult to find anywhere in the industry. And The Last of Us is definitely just kind of on a different level from most other games. In terms of just making a cinematic experience like they've gone for. I mean, like I said, you know, a lot of games aren't even trying to make a cinematic experience, and so it's okay if they don't match The Last of Us in that particular category. But man, does The Last of Us do it well. Okay, so we're getting there. How... Oh, we've got these lower panels down here.
Processing valuable objects. Credits awarded.
Okay, good. I'm glad that they've kept this entire thing processor. Sometimes they like to make these like hybrid objects, which are part processor and part furnace, and you just can't ever perfectly salvage them,
Salvage goal obtained.
and that makes me sad.
Additional rewards assigned.
Okay, so let's try to aim this guy right, and boof. And look, like you get all these bits that have like slowed down now, so I gotta like give them all a little shove. And I gotta get myself in the right position, the right angle to give this one a shove. Now the fact that I've got brakes is also weird because, you know, because there's no static frame of reference in space. The idea of braking is kind of foolish, but if what you what I imagine is
Accepted for processing.
what I imagine is that the that there's an AI that sort of basically say, okay, it's treating the station as though it's stationary, and it's basically syncing your movements to the movements of the station. It's not really braking, it's just thrusting you in an appropriate direction. Which is actually really similar to, like, say, what quadrotor copters do. You know, they're just constantly checking their own movement and adjusting what their engines are doing to keep them level and stationary. And so it's, you know, it's not really about braking. There's nothing to brake against in the air. But what they do is they just figure out their relative motion and try to get it right.
Processor deposit accepted. Credits awarded.
Oh, so Nanobot asked if I can use my thrusters and this device at the same time in order to sort of like magnify their speed. So I think that as I approach something, it automatically retracts my beam. And similarly, as I move away from something, I think it automatically extends the beam. I think that the thing where the beam stays taut are when I'm rotating the beam. Like if I'm rotating here and that creates tension going up, and this creates tension going down. And you can see the beam sort of turning red as the tension gets kind of a little bit too much for it. Yeah, so rotational motion basically gets treated as real motion, but in and out motion just doesn't. And so I have to grab and shove in order to make something move relatively, or real. I can pull it in with the left trigger too. Okay, so this goes in the furnace. Well, this bit goes in the processor. And this one is lighter, so I gotta be very sure I'm lined up. Because I can send a heavy thing partly in the wrong direction, and it's fine. What's this thing? Stop it. Dang it. Hey, stop. There. Nope, not that. I want to grab this little item. How do I grab this little item? Can I? Nope. Okay, fine. Okay, so this cockpit's gonna be annoying. We'll save it for last. Now, can I move this entire thing? I think I can't. I think it's too big, so I think I'm gonna have to cut it apart first. So, a few different ways that we can do that. Let's... What was the button for switching my... it was this. Alright, so... line it up just right, and then cut. So I like cutting along these seams, except in the narrow bits they get kind of annoying. Like right there. But you'll notice, okay, and it didn't go all the way through. I was wondering if it was going to penetrate all the way through. But no. All right, so let's try this one now. Yeah, notice it didn't even penetrate. Oh, so sometimes it destroys entire items. You can see the ship is made out of, multiple discrete objects, and sometimes an entire object will just get incinerated. Okay, is this? Yes, okay, I can move this. Yeah, so again, I'm imagining this just the inertial, whatever inertial dampeners they've got here. I'm imagining that something that's very big and heavy, the inertial dampeners just... Whoa, okay, that was still so heavy that shoving it... Oh, this isn't completely cut through yet. Where did we miss a spot? We missed a spot right there. Okay. So yeah, so this thing was actually still too heavy to move because there's one little bit that was still connected. All right, so, but yeah, you see that little red, oh, you can't see it actually, it's behind my head. There's a little red message that popped up that said that basically I destroyed something valuable. But yeah, sometimes if you do enough damage to an item, they just outright destroy the item. And so you lose salvage for that. But I think they're actually judging your salvage based on the volume of what you're delivering. And so if you've cut a bunch of holes in something, its value to you is reduced proportionally. In fact, you can see the big bar across the top middle of my screen. You can see on the left side, you've got all of this gold meter that's filling up to show all the stuff that I've accomplished. But you can also see on the right side, there's just 1 pixel depth there of red. The red is stuff that I've destroyed. So if I just destroy things by sending either, I think losing them will do it, or cutting them will do it, how cutting removes a certain amount of mass, and also putting things in the wrong place, like sending a furnace item into the processor, or sending a processor item into the furnace. That also messes things up, and it doesn't count as salvaging them. All right, so I guess that little item I just can't get. Okay, so this guy is furnace, and it's going to be light, so I got to be very careful at how I aim it. There we go. And now we've got the cockpit.
Transferring credits.
Always the most annoying part of one of these. Oh, wait. Oh, interesting. Oh, they made this cockpit easier. Oh, usually you have to manually disassemble the cockpit, and you always end up losing mass in the process. and it's frustrating. But in this case, it looks like they actually didn't connect the furnace-y part of the cockpit to the processor part of the cockpit. I wonder if that's a change they made across the game, or if it's just something they did to make the tutorial easier, or the tutorial less frustrating. Because it's not like the game gets harder, because the cockpit is a hybrid thing that can't ever be cut apart fully. That's not hard, it's just frustrating. Like, you can be as good as you want to at the game,
Raw material accepted.
and it doesn't matter. You're still going to fail to some degree, because you're going to end up putting a little bit of processor material in the furnace and a little bit of furnace material in the processor. Oh, right here. Okay, we got one annoying bit, which is the glass from the cockpit. So we're going to try to remove it as cleanly as we can. It means lining up with each seam. Oh, interesting. It cut that entire thing apart. I'm trying to line it up so that, with perspective, it's mostly a straight line. And then I cut the glass like that. And then I'll cut the top. And I'll cut the bottom. And I'm interested in the fact that this bit of processor stuff floated away. I thought it would be connected to everything else. Oh well. Hey, hold still, hold still, hold still. Nope, I'm gonna put you in the processor. There you go. And you are also processor stuff. You go there. Yeah, I really do miss tethers. I hope they unlock soon. Because getting this stuff reliably into the processor is so much easier with tethers. And this guy. So I think I've done as well as I possibly can. I don't think I can get any more rewarded, but I still have to clean up the last bit here. Come on, get in there. I think, aside from these little tiny objects that I'm just not allowed to do anything with,
Processor deposit accepted. Credits awarded.
I think we're good. Did I miss anything? I'm looking around, and aside from that little object, I don't think I've got anything left. So let's head back. So I appreciate, by the way, the Tank and other folks answering questions in the chat, because I keep missing out on chat questions about exactly how this stuff works. You do end up eventually just sort of getting a feel for the weight of it, which is actually kind of a nice thing and a difficult thing to accomplish with a game like this, is sort of really giving the player a sense that they can feel how heavy things are. You totally can in this game. Right, so yeah, so I destroyed a couple of things, but I'm mostly fine. And I got some points. I'm a recruit.
License level increased.
So what does that mean? Does that mean I get tethers now? Do I get tethers? I want tethers. But I'm actually running out of time, so I probably can't do another full ship. But let's see what's next for me.
Hello, Shipbreaker. Please enjoy this inspirational message. The last 10% of a job takes as much energy as the first 90%, which is why it's so important to always give 110%.
By the way, I realized I turned up the volume so you could hear, like, Weaver talking. I'm worried that the soundtrack might have been a little bit too loud while I was talking, so I hope that was okay. Yay, I got a sticker!
Looking good, Cutter. Now go ahead and pick another ship.
Okay, yeah, if the next step is picking another ship, we're probably not going to have time to do that, so we'll probably get out of here. But, I wasn't exactly sure how they were going to take the control scheme that I got really used to with a mouse and keyboard and move it over to a console controller and feel natural. But, once I got used to it, like, I'm still a little bit nervous about how, sort of the sluggishness of my cursor and how easily I'll be able to control things. I think tethers are going to help a lot with that. When I have to extract my first reactor, that's really going to be the test of whether or not I can handle this with a console controller. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. But I do really love this game, and I've loved it since I started playing it very early in early access. And so I'm glad that they've finally come to console, and I'm glad that they're on Game Pass, so that I think a wider variety of people are going to give it a try. Because not everyone will look at a game that's kind of like a nerdy space game like this. It's all about taking things apart and decide to spend a bunch of money on it. But things like Game Pass are great because you might be in Game Pass for any number of reasons. There might be all kinds of different games that you got it for originally. But then, because this game crops up, you might give it a try, whereas you might otherwise not have tried it, and you might discover something that you really love. So, it's one of my favorite things about Game Pass, and I hope that it means that more people discover Hardspace Shipbreaker, because it is a really, really good game. Oh, Raneth Court is pointing out that Deathloop is also on Game Pass, which is great. Yeah, I'm really excited about that, too. I never actually won Deathloop. I got almost to the end, and I think I just got distracted and I forgot how to play. And so, I don't know, I should crack it back open. I was playing it on PC originally, so I should crack it back open at some point. But yeah, that's another one that's worth checking out. There's a lot of cool stuff on Game Pass, actually. My daughter, Calliope, just found Spider Heck, which is a weird game. It's very small indie sort of thing, but it's got a just clever, weird control scheme and set of rules to it that we'll probably end up playing it on the stream at some point in the future. Anyway, let's wrap up this episode with a subscribe button and links to other videos. And if you want to see some of my older Hardspace Shipbreaker videos, maybe I'll put links to them right there.